Is HaShulchan Yoredeh Siman Tes Zayin Sif Chav Ches to Sif Siman Yud Zayin Sif Beis. This is day 76 of the Supplemental Arukh HaShulchan Yomi series, and we're talking about hybrids versus purebreds in terms of kilayim in Sif Chav Zayin. And now we're going to address that issue when it comes to Oso Vezbeno, according to Shitas Rambam. What the Rambam wrote about also has been known. There's another hidden meaning to what he said. That would show us a suffix if it applies by the males. In other words, if you can check the father and the offspring the same day. It's not because we have a suffix if we're concerned with the father's lineage or not. The was certainly concerned. And we should the Rabbanan the Chananya also, since the Rabbanan who argue Chananya preclude the males from the Isser Oso Vesmeno, from the word Oso, the Oso, the Mashma Echav Lo Shnayim, from which they derive that it's only one parent has a problem Oso Vesmeno, not two. In other words, and they say it's only the mother, and that also, even though it's masculine, references the species, as HaShulchan said previously, doesn't reference the gender. So it could be that they normally do all the cheshim zerav in other circumstances, other halachos. Ella, but here it's different. Torah precluded Zera'av from Oso Vezbeno. It's a unique halacha. And if you have an individual and the masses, meaning Chananya versus Rabbana, so he passes like the Rabbim. Chananya, who clearly has to do Zerav. And that which Shmuel passes in Chananya doesn't mean he passes in Chananya exclusively. No. Shpas like Rabbanon, but Shpas like Chananya. So rather, our Klolius Adin Shloshim Zerav. It's on the general principle of Shloshim Zerav, Chol Tarakula, which might not even apply to Oso V'Zbeno, because Oso V'Zbeno we have Oso Echav Lo Shnayim. The Kol Shas Nisku Divrei Chananya L'Inyan Zeh. Because in all of Shas, Chananya is the person reference for this halacha. Moshe Chananya Machakto. And Shmuel holds that the halacha is like Chananya, and those who argue on him. Like the Shas says in many places. I'm not aware of this principle of Shas that when it says halacha like an individual, it means halacha like the individual, and those who argue upon him in the area in which they have common ground. And that's what the Arukh HaShulchan is learning here. This is brilliantly creative by the Arukh HaShulchan's part. I must say, I don't know if it works out as being MS, but it is brilliantly creative. He says, this pride of Oso is no, but that he's not talking. When it says Los Chananya is going to Choshin Luserav, even though it's Baskin like Chananya, when it comes to actual Oso, but no, where the Machlokus is focused. Or it's possible that no. You can learn that the Chacham held from this drush. It's clear that we're not choshish zerav anywhere. Can I look at Chananya Gamin also Vesmeno? And therefore also Chananya also means it says also Vesmeno. And what he's trying to tell us, this prat that choshishim zerav. That which he says we're not sure if it applies to males or not. That's the halacha of also Vesmeno. Choshin Zerab does apply. Abshita Choshin Zerab. So therefore, you paskins appropriately when a goat male mates with a deer female. Yoda Tzvia Bus, and the deer female deer gives birth to a daughter. Babas Yoda Ben, and then the daughter gives birth to a son. So V'shodes Basa Tzvia Vesmina, and you shech the daughter of the goat. I'm sorry, the daughter of the sheep, the daughter of the deer, and its son Loke. They came to the Indian Atzma, Pshito Choshin Zerav, Since in terms of the first daughter, the second generation, right? We're obviously taking account of the father's lineage. And the father's lineage thus imparts to this daughter a part which is sheep on the father's side. And we hold that says, even a mixed say, even a partial say, as we've explained, can vadai the loca, there certainly is malchus. That would say now to shecht a deer and its offspring. Even though the Gemara says that we're talking about a sheep and its son. Not a deer and its son. He says, since the Shah says patur, have a patur of loser. It's patur of loser. So this is Rabbana came along and they said even the deer with its son from the let's leave it's the son from the goat. Let's check up on that. Yes, that's correct. The Rosh and Ram is have a Esha Balatzvoya Osili Shchot Osa Vespino. So the now to check the fully 100% deer mother with a 50% deer, 50% sheep progeny is because, and this is the Rabbanan was been in place, put in place over here. Osir, but Potter Malchus. The Kamer Shas Loshen Potter would have a Potter of Losicum of a Shabbos. The Yankee say Adam Shkosaberg Shekol should be Behema V'Chayim Mechasa Beinam Mavorech. A new factor here. He said Adam only applies to a Chaya and not to a Behema. So he writes there that by Kisei Adam that eight times comes from both a Behema and a Chaya, a hybrid Mechasa Beinam Mavorech. Time of Pasha, it's clear that feeling Michaya. Even if the father is a chaya, you have to cover the blood. You're concerned with the father's age. But don't make a bracha, even if the mother is a chaya. Since if we're concerned with the father, the father is a behema. Change our case does not require kisui adam. It's like him got mixed up with other blood. Change to kisui, it doesn't require covering. Over mayim, or like mixed up with water. So shebo maradam, it's like kisui, where it has to have the countenance of blood, which requires kisui. Who can reckon this when you have a mixture of genes, not just the blood? The bracket says, Raya Shlo, he's Kirsha, Visham Rakoi, Veduk, evidently Koi. It's a different issue, I guess. Maybe let's get the Simon Kavches, we'll find out about that. Anyway, back out of the brackets. V'zesh Kasli Matnas Kuna, new issue, right? Matnas Kuna, which only get from a behema, not a chaya. The Zesh Kasli Matnas Kuna, Perik Testing Bikurim, Tzvia Bola Eis V'Yolda, a deer which mates with a goat and gives birth. Havlad chayav v'chachatzi matanos. The vlad is chayav and half the matanos. The seba fil mikzah seh means even a partial seh. Here the mother was a sheep. B'tay shabbat tzvaya potter. Yet the son, the other side, he says that a sheep was male and the deer is a female. Your potter ayin sham. Avla tzvaya chashin zerav. Why? Why shouldn't be chayav have it the same way? Kom kein moment shani. In terms of money, it's different. Shochan Marakoy can say Koy came shesh plukta b'zeh. Says the machlekes about this. Habili Uraya shalach chashim zerav. Okay, bring a right that lachas chashim zerav. Is that Yev Shalavi? You can't bring a right. Shesh machlekes b'zeh. It's a machlekes. It's the Yichran. Okay, even though we could make a determination what to do in terms of Isabhet, in terms of Yochadeya. Nevertheless, in but you need to have definite proof, and you don't have definite proof. In brackets says, "Lama said Bechulani test on base, Baruch Rabbanan Lei Malay I say Raya the Chashim Zarav and Shakil Ein Sham." It's such a precedent in the Chulin that finding a test, but it says bring a Raya the Chashim Zarav, and then you can take Tema my Baruch Rabbanan name of the Chananya. Why is the question according to Rabbanan? Let's say that they hold like that he holds like Chananya, and that's Sugya there. By the moment shine in terms of money, it's different. Okay, so there's precedent for that idea. Yudzai, Hefer Sheish Ben Shchitas Brialim Sukanis. The difference between shechting an animal which is healthy and an animal which is in peril. Al behema chai v'ov shem cholim sukaim natim lamus. You have a behema chai or oaf which are sick and in danger and inclined to die. Nevertheless, since they don't have a specific wound in their limbs, hamatrifin, which will make them treif, the animals mutter. Totally forbade an avela, such when it died, or and it wasn't shechted properly, or she is treifa, so it has a mortal wound, on one of its limbs. So we'll learn treifas. So as assuming chaim, I feel in the shechted that's also when it's even if it's still alive, even shechted properly. It's also even gets a wound while it's alive. You know what it means. Mashayim Sukkah is opposed to an animal which is in danger, in peril. She'ain bo rak teshishis kochot only has diminished strength. Chein aval b'shinoyta muslim when it's inclined to die. Kasher it's kosher k'shnishka koroi when it's shechted properly. K'moshi is as we shall see. Base v'dovas am first but Torah the Nevi'im is explicit in Torah and in Navi. Harei Shomer Torah says in Dvarim Dal Chaf Aleph Lo tachlu kol nevela. Don't eat any nevela. Nevela hi lachar misa. Nevela is after death. That was yesterday's parsha Shmini. If there dies from the animal which is for you to eat, somebody who touches it's nevela. And we know there's no animal which dies which is not at least a certain amount of time prior to its death in danger, being in peril of the peril of its illness. You're going to say a Torah forbade an animal which is in danger. Why should Asar Nevela only after death? She can Asar during its lifetime. It must be that it's when it's alive, it's permitted. There's also Navi. She is I'm not sure it's also the Gemara in there, Dapsan Lamazai, or elsewhere, but it's certainly Gemara. Yechezkel Navi cries out in Parak Daled, Pasuk Daled, Ha Hashem Elokim, Hinei Nafshi Lo Metamah, I have not defiled my soul. Nevela Trefa Lo Achalti Min Rai, I never ate Nevela and Trefa. Yev Shalom, I Nevela Trefa Mamash, can't say literally Nevela Trefa, they can't end Shevach. When Navi, but it's not a praise for Navi specific in this matter. Shekoi so saying, but any Jews know how to do it. Elabah Kabbalah, therefore the Messiah has come down Mesukenes guy. Then Yechezkel is referencing Mesukenes. Because normally people expedite Shchita Shalota Muslims now, but they shouldn't die become the Vela. That's why it's called. He calls it a Vela. Says he calls it a Vela. Says I didn't even eat a Mesukenes, which could have come to the Vela. Trevor Ishmael Kain's and it's treifa. You can also explain in that way. The Gemara does not address it there, but he says it. Such as got a needle somehow embedded in its stomach in front of us. We're quickly checking so that the needle should not penetrate inside and pierce the small intestines, and become a treifa. That's he calls it. Speaks about a treifa. These both animals are close, either become the veil or a treifa. Don't show immediately. They're going to die. Since the Navi praised of that, he was machmir on this. Shemami of the Medina Muteris. As he calls strictly of Lord's permitted. But the Navi himself was meticulous about it. Okay, that's it for today.